Oh man, so whilst we were sleeping, we've had Bitcoin fighting against some whale manipulation, we've got Algorand forming a potential bullish pattern, and we've got COTI trying its best to get out of our buy zone and head higher. So let's take a look at the charts, and let's start with COTI. So you can see with COTI, we formed the cup and handle pattern, we formed the downward wedge, we reached our initial target, and then we entered this very prolonged downward channel. And this was very frustrating, long downward channel with no movement, and it frustrated a lot of people. And you can see it entered our buy zone, and we started nibbling on some more COTI. Now, we then had a breakout of this wedge, which looked great, but then we met our target at the top here of the wedge. So here we met it at 56, and we got rejected back down. We went again, broke through, and got sent straight back down. But crucially, we weren't able to create a higher low, right? If you look at it, we've just got our lows close is lower than the candles here. So we've not technically managed to achieve an uptrend here. You're more in a kind of expanding triangle if you wanted to give it a pattern name. So you've got COTI really fighting now. We want to see some strong 4-hourly candles here. The worrying sign I'm noticing is, well, the good sign, first, is that you've got plenty of room on the RSI, right? We're not heated at all. You can see where the RSI reached to up during these runs. You've got a lot of space for that to run. However, look at the volume candles. Look at the volume candles here. We can see we had really good, strong volume, and that volume has disappeared on COTI. Now, if we switch to the daily view, again, look when we had that massive breakout. Look at that volume. In this initial uptrend, look at that volume. So that volume has dissipated. Having said that, it's better volume now in this period here than we had in the bottom of the cup. Okay, so we've got to remain bullish because a lot of new people are discovering COTI. A lot of new people are finding out about COTI, particularly after the Cardano partnership. So you can see that just by the volumes. At least you're at least double the bar sizes of the ones at the bottom of this handle. Okay, but you do want to see higher volume come in for us to really push out of this struggle zone and break through 66. Now, there's a part of a reason why we're seeing a bit of low volume, and that's more of a macro issue in terms of crypto, not issue, but situation we find ourselves in crypto, is that everybody is flocking to Bitcoin, right? And that's the thing right now. So if I show you the, let's find the Bitcoin dominance. And if I show you the Bitcoin dominance, you can see Bitcoin dominance broke out from this downward channel, which dated back to July. And in this period, you saw everybody now flocking across to Bitcoin, right? 11% increase in the dominance. And you're seeing that people do not want to miss out on this potentially massive last quarter of a 4-year cycle run on Bitcoin. So you're seeing a lot of people move out of their, some of their more speculative plays or smaller plays just to put every last penny they've got into Bitcoin to maximize the returns there on Bitcoin. So that's why you're seeing subdued performance on all of your altcoins. And if we flick through them, you can see that, right? You're getting 1, 2, 3% moves on Bitcoin, even though you've got a 3% move on the altcoins, even though you've got a 3% move on Bitcoin. And remember, historically, if Bitcoin was to do a 3%, you could easily see an 8, 9, 10% move in some of these smaller cap altcoins. But here, Bitcoin's getting all the love and attention, and I think that makes sense given it's the last quarter of a 4-year cycle. That's human behavior, right? That's what they're going to be doing right now. So let's move on to Bitcoin and see what we're seeing here, because whilst we were having some rest, we can see Bitcoin is forming this bullish pennant. Now, we were looking at this bullish pennant where you have your flagpole and you kind of come into this area and it's getting narrower and narrower. And then if we switch over to the hourly in this pennant, let's see if we can get a better view of what went on. So you can see here, we entered the pennant and then suddenly we had a spike down. So you had a big whale sell down during the breakout, so it turned out into a fake out, but then the dip was bought very quickly. And that's what's important here. So you can see a massive flash down. So if you take from there, you were at 1.56592 and you fell to a low of 54,400, right? So that's a big swing, and that's definitely a bit of manipulation, either to buy the dip back at here, or people just taking profits at that point there at 56. Maybe there were people that were holding in from 28,000, right? So that's what happened. But again, just testament to how strong Bitcoin is right now, that it took a couple of hourly candles before it just ate up that dip, and we've now broken out of our bullish pattern. And now the target from your bullish pattern is to take the flagpole, which we've done here, and it will give you a target of 60,355. So this bullish pattern could be the catalyst we need for Bitcoin to break the 60,000 mark. So we'll keep an eye on this one. But this is a really nice continuation pattern. We've had a couple of these now on the Bitcoin run thus far. You're seeing a good bunch of continuation patterns. It's running, it's forming a little a continuation pattern. It runs again, it's forming a continuing pattern, and hopefully we can get another run up now. So really bullish momentum in Bitcoin right now. And just to remind you of where we're at on the macro, because it's always important to zoom out, is we were in this massive, if you can see the purple color, continuation pattern as well, right? It's this wedge, and we've broken out in these 2 weekly candles here. So a really positive move here from Bitcoin on a macro scale and on a zoomed in hourly and 4-hourly scale. So we're getting some really good confluence on the Bitcoin chart, and it's really looking from strength to strength. And you can see a lot of people are really getting excited about this last quarter. If you watched my video yesterday, you would have heard that I always like to bring in some things around the wider economy, and we know we get our CPI reading on Wednesday morning, okay? And please don't underestimate the impact that CPI reading could have. That could be the catalyst for Bitcoin to really push through 60,000, 64,000 here at all-time highs. But equally, it could call Bitcoin down if we get a reading to the low side. So if inflation comes in less than expected, that could have a negative catalyst on our momentum with Bitcoin. But hopefully we can just take that in our stride as long as there's nothing major like inflation has tanked far down, which I'm not expecting, by the way. I'm expecting inflation to be quite high still because I think it's still very persistent. So that's your inflation. Now, the other coin we want to look at is Algorand. So Algorand, let's switch over to the 4-hourly. You will see that Algorand was forming this wedge, and we broke down to the downside. And obviously your target to the downside, if you're trading this to the downside, would be the bottom of the wedge here, which would be at least 1.76. And you can see you met your target and some on the breakdown. But now I'm seeing a potential bullish pattern, okay? So now what I'm seeing is we could potentially be creating a W pattern. Okay, so we could be creating a W pattern, which could give us the bullish momentum, which we need to break this level at $2.13, right? But we need to create that W pattern. And so far, you're seeing it fight right now here. Let's see, you can see these candles. These are really important candles that we get a good bounce off this 179 level, $1.79. We want to see some green candles here to create this W shape. So we got to see this bit here. If we break to the downside and head into a downtrend, which would look more like heading down into a downtrend down this way, then you got to look at your next level of support, which doesn't come in until $1.64. Okay, so if we head down to a downtrend, then it's $1.64, and then your next line under that, if you break that, is quite concerning because you're going to get a big drop down to 133. There's not much support in this area on the downward side. Now, on your upward side, if we do create the W pattern which we were looking at, let me just get rid of these. So if we do create the W pattern which we were looking at, then you could be heading easily higher to break 213 and even go surpass this high here at $2.07 to head higher towards this upper target from the wedge as well, which is your $2.24. Okay, so if we can create that W pattern, we can break the neckline, we can easily get past 213 and head to $2.24 on Algorand. So a lot of potential there if it can create that W pattern. Ethereum is 5% up at the time of recording. Ethereum's doing pretty well now. It's had a really, it had the same dump there and it had a really good bit of buy the dip here, but they need to create a higher high over at Ethereum past this kind of resistance level here at 3,600. We've got to see it higher than 3,650 for Ethereum to really push on higher. Now, Cardano is an interesting one as well. And we know Cardano's been frustratingly sideways for a long time. If we switch over to the daily, we can see that Cardano has just been forming this massive wedge since September, right? So since the 20th of September. So we've been in this wedge for about 20 days now. And you remember in the video, I showed you this is what Cardano does. I mean, look how long it goes sideways for. And if you miss these moments, you'll miss out a lot of the gains that Cardano has, right? And again, we're in this sideways pattern now. So if we look at this, however, we do have a bit of a wedge forming. And if we're going to find out the apex of this wedge would indicate that by the 17th of October, which is the end of the week, we'll have a decision either way on which way Cardano is going to be breaking out of this wedge. And if we break to the downside, obviously we entered it from the downside, then you could expect at the bottom of the wedge, you could even go down to, let's just call it this 187 line here to support. Now on the upside, however, because you can see that we're creating higher lows here and we're really gaining some momentum into this wedge. If we break to the upside, then you could be expecting, we'll do that to move there. you could be expecting a breakout. If let's say we get a breakout there, you could be expecting this to push Cardano to $2.60 kind of range, very roughly. Okay, so that's what we want to find out for Cardano. We need to get a breakout. The volume again has not been massively there. We know that a lot of the volume is in Bitcoin right now. People are even moving out of Ethereum and Cardano at this point to get their positions into Bitcoin. So it's definitely Bitcoin season right now, and you can see people are rotating out of their alts. You can just see that by the sheer volume. So Cardano will need to kind of build some momentum here and try to break to the upside in order to head above $2.44 and aim for the $2.60 mark, where you'll meet some resistance at $2.60 for sure on Cardano. So there you go, guys. Hope you found this analysis useful. We can see that Bitcoin has navigated the whale manipulation. You're always going to get this whale manipulation. You're always going to have people taking profits as well, which isn't manipulation, but it's really important that Bitcoin has managed to buy the dips, and you can see the strength in that run right now. You saw the bullish continuation pattern with the bull pennant, which shows great signs for Bitcoin. Now, naturally, this is going to create a little bit of a cooling off in our altcoins, right? And it's going to become frustrating for a lot of people who are invested in altcoins, because you're not going to see your coins moving. You're not going to see Algorand, COTI, Cardano, even very good solid projects moving when Bitcoin is moving so fast, because people don't want to miss out on this opportunity, right? It's super hyped up. Everybody knows Q4 is this massive month and it could, really ramp up. So everybody wants to make sure they don't miss the boat. And so they're sitting on the boat and they're waiting for it, and therefore altcoins are not moving. Now, this ain't going to last forever, right? What's going to happen is that eventually people will start piling back into the altcoins, and that's why I'm making sure I'm keeping my positions instead of trying to time the market. So I'm nibbling still at things like COTI and Algorand, building positions in my high conviction layer one solutions like I always talk about, because when the market does decide to rotate, it's going to move very quickly. So when people are fearful, that's when I'm buying some of these. And when it doesn't mean I'm selling out any of my Bitcoin position, I'm happy with my Bitcoin position. And if anything, I'm adding to that with fiat, right? I'm buying as much as I can to take advantage of this growth. But at the same time, I'm still nibbling on my altcoins as well in the proportions that I'm comfortable with for my portfolio. So long story short, I'm not selling any of my Bitcoin to go into altcoins. I'm not selling any altcoins to go into Bitcoin, but I'm trying to increase positions of both through generating more income and putting more income in fiat currency into those plays. So I'm trying to get the best of both worlds. Now, what some people do is if they don't have any more income to come in, they're trying to rotate out of their altcoins into Bitcoin, but then you have a risk, right? If the altcoins decide to run and you struggle to time it back out, it's then a bit of a challenge. But if you can manage to keep both of them, and therefore you can take advantage of the Bitcoin run and you can take advantage of the altcoin run, which will inevitably come once the Bitcoin dominance starts to cool down, then you can benefit from both sides of that play. Hope you guys found this video useful. If you like this type of analysis, then please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.